Well, good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone made it in. It's a little bit of a traffic snafu. I almost got an fender bender myself there trying to make an inappropriate left turn in, but I made it. I'm in good shape. No one was harmed, including the car, so we're all good. Well, I am thrilled to be back here. It's always one of the fun events I get to do each year, and I thank John, Hope Bryan for including not just myself, but Delta as one of the not just presenting sponsors, but giving us a platform to continue to share our progress and our journey together. And we have a really important topic to talk about today, and that's why I brought two folks that I believe are foremost experts on it. How does culture continue to become ingrained and allow your company to soar is the theme of the topic that we're going to be talking today. And when you talk about culture, you have to first think about values, because culture isn't just something that is the end result of everything you do. Culture has to be very intentional. It has to be deliberate. And if you're not intentional about it, you're going to get the culture that you deserve, which is not a very great culture. But it's the values and the alignment that leadership has with actions following the values stipulated by the corporation. The other reason why this topic I think is so relevant today is we operate in a world and a society where trust is, I would argue, one of the most important currencies that one can have. And it doesn't matter whether you're in politics, whether you're running a big company, whether you're in a church, you have to have people that believe in you, that trust you, that know that you'll be behind them. But trust is also fundamental to the values and living out the values. So it's a big topic, and we're going to dig into this. Richard Cox is our Senior Vice President of Airport Customer Service at Delta, and Richard runs all of the airports, so all of you spend a lot of time with Richard and his team. I told him backstage, he's like the mayor of many big cities, all rolled into one. He's got the hardest job in the company, including mine. I mean, his job is phenomenal. And Michael has become a friend over the years, and he's the CEO of Great Places to Work. So he has seen great companies in action, and he studies this. This is his life passion, is to study leadership, study how companies create lasting change, positive change for the good, where people want to come and be part of that community. So I'm going to start off with a question that Richard and Michael, we both talk an awful lot about. There is so much happening in the world. There's polarization, there's divisiveness in our politics, there's technology that's moving at a rapid pace. AI, you can't move without hearing what the latest thing the AI is going to do to us or for us, depending on your perspective. And in all of that, stepping back from that, staying true to our values, what does that mean for you? And I'll start with you, Michael, first. Companies that stay true to their values, why is that so important?
Yeah, Ed, there's really two things that are really important related to values. The first is the purpose of the organization. Why are we here? Why do we do what we do every day? And it's up to leaders to inspire people, to remind them of why we come to work every day. And you want to create a culture that's high trust. Contrary to popular belief, trust is the currency that matters, not crypto. Yeah. It's trust.
I love that.
And how we feel about each other, how we feel.
Write that down.
How we feel about the person that we work for, and management, and so on. And so people want to know why you come to work every day, as the CEO, and what you believe in. They may be interested in who you vote for, but they really want to know what you believe in. What things are you willing to do as a leader, and what things are you willing to do as a company, and what things are you not willing to do. And as Warren Buffett said, when the tide goes out, you can tell who's been skinny dipping. And I would add to that, you could tell who shouldn't be skinny dipping. Okay? So it's when times are hard that you find out, what is the company? Mm-hmm. Who is my leader? It's when times are hard. Yeah. And 2025 has been a time to find out what companies believe in, what leaders believe in, and it's through actions. Everybody's website looks great in terms of their value statement, but what's actually happening in the company? And so what we found in our work, we survey over 23,000 companies around the world in over 170 countries, is that when there is no trust, scores have plummeted. So when things were kind of fragile, what came to the surface is who's skinny dipping, where there is no trust. But great companies actually scores went up when times are tough. So it's really important. The work of leaders is really important. And if you're going to refresh your values, I would say don't do it in times of trouble. You could clarify your values, make sure people understand what the values mean, but it's not a great time to change them.
Absolutely. Richard?
First of all, everything that you said, I agree with. I think values, staying true to them, they determine whether you can stand the test of time. And Delta, our foundation is we take care of our employees. We know if we do that, they take care of you, our customers. And that loyalty, that's what drives our success. And many companies talk about values. Our values are integrity, care, servant leadership. But those are words. And I love what you said about tough times. I'll give three quick examples. Ed, look, I'll start with you. Even before I came to Delta, I think one of the most courageous, value-driven decisions during the midst of COVID, and to put this in perspective, Delta's not flying. You made a decision we would not lay off not one employee, and we didn't. That is another one, we blocked the middle seats. And I know for me, as a customer at the time, that gave me the momentum to start traveling. But you did it because of our employees.
Yep.
And again, these decisions based on values during tough times, they are difference makers. And the last one I'll say, and this is core to our culture, we talk about it every day, we empower every one of our employees to call a safety timeout. And to explain to everyone in the room, safety is our highest priority. And so if any employee sees any potential safety issue, it could be something small or large, we empower them to stop the operation, stop a flight, stop a baggage cart. We empower them, and not only do we encourage it, we celebrate it. And those are value-based decisions. And again, I think there's no coincidence that we're the only airline that has been around 100 years.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Richard. Thank you. Michael, could you tell us a little bit about Great Places to Work and what you're seeing leaders across the world, not just in our country, do to deal with the times that are challenging? It seems like every year we talk about times are challenging. Times are just challenging.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the temperatures continue to rise in the polarization that we're experiencing that within our businesses, within our communities, certainly within our politics, and how leaders are leading through that. And if you have any examples of leaders that are doing a great job upholding values, as say rising, and places where potentially you've seen people fall, and what we can learn from that.
Okay, I'm not going to name the companies that fell because that's not good for my business. Okay, but
Okay.
but
Well, they need you though.
But that's why I have a great business. Okay, so if everybody was like Delta, I wouldn't have a business. Okay, so but a couple of things. One of them is companies that are doing well right now, and some of you know what it's like to be at a great place to work. It's their leaders. It's their leaders. And leaders interacting with the people who work for them like they care about them as a person, not an employee. That's one of our questions. Do you feel like you're cared for as a person or an employee? There's a big difference between the two. And when you get underneath care, what you find is that people feel like their leaders listen to them, meaning they're not just waiting for their mouth to stop moving before they repeat what they're going to say. They're actually in the moment, asking questions, getting to know the person, to connect with the person. You can't say I care about a person if you don't know the person. And so that's number one. And then how they speak to the people who work for them. There's a lot of respect in the way that you speak. If you want to show whether you would respect somebody or care about somebody, it's how you listen to them and it's how you speak to them. And then thanking them. Making sure everybody likes a thank you. Not everybody likes to be on stage getting thanked. People are different, but everybody appreciates being recognized, and everybody wants to be inspired. There's some people, John Pearson, the CEO of DHL Express, says he wants people to go home from work better than when they left their home to go to work, based on the experience that they have. And great companies are doing that. They're requiring it not only from the CEO, but from the people who report to the CEO, the middle managers, and the most important people in the company, frontline supervisors, who are the ones who really affect the work experience of the person that's working. And companies have doubled down on that. The other thing is, great companies during 2025 have decided to stop talking to the media in performative ways about what they're doing, okay?
Yep.
Some people know what I'm talking about. And because number one, media has been bought.
Yep.
So free press is, hopefully something that'll come back. But I forgot this is live stream, but okay. Y'all got any jobs at Delta? Because I might be a free person after this.
Michael,
okay, but
I think everybody here would hire you in a heartbeat.
okay, but because of that reality, what great leaders are doing is like, let me focus on my people. Let me talk inside the company about what we're doing. And so, like Brian said earlier from Cisco, Cisco is another company. They're the same. Okay. They're the same company today that they were in 2020, 2024, 1996, the same. Okay, the same company. They haven't changed. And when you are consistent, it's because you're living out your values in a completely consistent way. And companies that have decided, there are a lot of people who put out notices of, we're no longer going to do this, we're no longer, due to the executive order, we're no longer going to do that. Well, they weren't doing it in the first place. Yeah. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, so they just put out a statement about what they weren't doing, it didn't make a difference, But I can think of one example, though, of a company, Target, okay, that I know well, and I know retail well. Okay, we survey the companies that would come to everyone's mind. And they put out a statement that said some things that they were no longer going to do. Now, I know that company. I know the leaders in that company. I know Buba, who runs the Southeast, one of the highest operating roles, an immigrant, okay, and one of the highest operating roles in the country in retail. And so I know who they are, but that statement, in the hands of a violent press, has affected that company, yep, in a very, very dramatic way. So the media is not our friend right now. They're more of a foe. They've learned, like all of us have learned, you can't fight in social media. So you just need to make sure that you have your people taken care of, something that Delta does, and Cisco and other great companies, and something that you do. Let the media do what it does. Make sure your people know what you believe in and that you believe them every day. Ed's going to leave here and in about a week go to Salt Lake City, this amazing thing that Delta does called Velvet, where there's not a CEO in America who spends more time with their employees than Ed. That's a fact. Okay, that I know. I don't mean live streaming with the people. I mean, he gets on the road face to face with the people. It's a huge commitment that you make. Well, that's why Delta's Delta, because they meet you, and then the other thing at the end of this thing is there's a long line of people. He has to do selfies for like an hour. I've seen it. A lot of CEOs don't have that problem, but you do have that problem, and that's the difference at a time like this. And I know, Delta is stronger now than a year ago, because everybody knows what they believe in. And so it's inspiring to me. And everybody should feel like their workplace is a great place to work. Our saying is, you should be a great place to work for all. And we want every workplace to be a great place to work for all. There shouldn't be any places where somebody feels disrespected and not cared for. And because we do demographic work, we know that it's not about every workplace is a great place to work for some people. That's not hard at all. The key is to be a great place to work for all people.
For all. Amen. Richard, you joined us only 3 years ago. It's hard to believe because you're so ingrained already into the culture. And I remember speaking, and many of you may know Richard. Richard is a local Atlanta native, was the chief operating officer of the city of Atlanta for a period of time working for the mayor, and he was actually my boss because he ran Hartsfield-Jackson from the city perspective, so we had to report to Richard as to how we were doing. So we got to see up close and personal, but one of the things I loved when we talked about the opportunity to come over to Delta is that you wanted to come because you loved and appreciated the values of what we stood for, that it was a company that you looked up to, and it lifts you. And I think that's what, candidly, a lot of the secret to our success has been over the years, is that we lift not just leaders, we lift all 100,000 people that come to work. And I like what you said, Michael, about the guy from DHL. We also want our employees to go home feeling like they made a difference in a certain way, and they were supported by their team. Can you talk about that, Richard? You run an operation with 25,000 employees around the world doing hard work, whether it's weather, whether it's thunderstorms, whether it's government shutdowns. Everything that happens in our business somehow comes to affect the airport environment.
Yeah. I think the key is the value alignment. And we talk about that. And, I'll start by saying my first job after graduating from college was in a warehouse. And I share that only to make this one point. After 5 years, I was stuck. And I made a decision. I crafted a personal mission statement to maximize my potential in order to maximize the potential of everyone around me. And so think about that. There's never been a company I work for where I am empowered to bring that to life each and every day. Keep climbing. It's the exact same thing. And if you've seen our commercials, keep climbing is so much more than a tagline. It is something that we talk about and live out each and every day. One of the things that I love doing is talking to our new hires. And most companies, when you talk about, keep climbing or continuous improvement, it's about the company. But what I get an opportunity to talk to them about is look, you may have come here for a summer job, but I can point you to thousands of people who started that way, and they've been able to positively impact generations, buying homes, putting kids through college, because it became a career. And most companies, we talk about this, how do we grow the company? We look at growing our people. And I think perhaps the best example that epitomizes this is we went through this survey, this flourishing survey, a few years ago to really understand how our employees were doing. And the thing that jumped out is we had opportunities in financial wellness and really helping them. But it's not specific to Delta. In fact, only 1 in 4 Americans have a savings account. 56% of Americans cannot weather an event that costs $1,000. They can't absorb it. So based on that, we started a first-of-its-kind program aimed at financial education. We partnered with Operation Hope. That's right. Our employees can go through financial education. When they complete it, we give them $750 into an emergency savings account. We don't stop there. We encourage them via payroll deductions to save $250, and then we match that $250. And so we have thousands of employees that now have $1,250 in an emergency savings program. And think about it. This is because we care about our people.
Yeah.
So that value alignment, it makes it easy today when we have a snowstorm. I can look my team in the eye and I can say, we got your back. Absolutely. And they have our back.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. Thank you, Richard. We're starting to run late on time, but there's one question I do want Michael to address, because it's something that through years of studying our own company, studying our own culture, and looking at what our people want, there's a paradox. People want strong leaders, but they also want humility. They want people to be able to be honest, to be transparent, to be able to talk and raise their voice when necessary, not to be intimidated.
Yeah.
listening. My mom taught me years ago, I got 2 ears and 1 mouth and use them accordingly. I still remember that to this day. But I think at the core is humility. And how do you see humility playing into the context of the environment which we today, in terms of leading? Because everybody's looking to leaders to have answers.
Yeah.
I think our people are looking for leaders that care.
Well, you know, if we all in our mind right now think about leaders that we don't respect, they lack humility. Okay? They know everything. Okay? And they never make mistakes. They're not for all, they're for some. Okay? So that's that. And if you go to the other end, you know, like if you ask somebody, think about the greatest leader that you ever worked for. They'll usually stop and then they light up and they start telling you about this person,
right,
and this connection to this person. And that person made them feel like they were the only person in the room when they talk to them. They talk about it. That person, they'll see them at a college reunion and they'll say something that they remember, about them. That person's present. That person is curious. You know, if you don't know everything, you're seeking knowledge, so you're curious. You're humble and you're curious. You're transparent. You have empathy. You ask questions so you can learn about the other person, because through learning about another person, you're improved, and you believe that. And most important, you have compassion, because empathy is learning what it's like to walk in another person's shoes. Right. Compassion is wanting to make things better for that person. Compassion is an action word. Yep. Listening is an action word. Right. So these are the things. But I agree, at the root of all that is humility. Is that you have an honest assessment. Humility is having an honest assessment of yourself. You're great and you're not so great. Absolutely. Okay? It's both.
I go home, my wife tells me every night.
Yeah. There's a way to get that.
The greatest source of humility is your spouse.
I don't have to send out a
partner.
survey to get feedback on that one. Oh, okay, I can just go home. Okay? But there's the reality of it. And people are attracted to leaders like that. People will do anything for leaders like that. You know, you have people who will work, 30 hours, go sleep 3, and go work another 30. Yeah. Pay doesn't do that. No. It just doesn't do it. It's something else. It's a sense of purpose. I make a difference here. As an individual, there's things I can do, but as a part of a great company like Delta, I can have global impact and affect millions of people. It means I matter. I really matter, and I'm around people who are gonna treat me like that. And that's a person who, when they get home, they feel good. Mm-hmm. They work 30 hours and they feel good about it. And when you talk to somebody about their best experiences at work, they normally describe a tough time. Yep. They go, the project was tough, it was hard, the demands were high, we didn't really have the resources, we had to get a lot done with a little. They described that, and that was like a shining moment for them. So for every leader out there, it's about humility. Ed's right, about listening, being in the moment. It's about caring. And if you don't care about the people around you, you need to do something about yourself. Okay?
Right. That's right.
Well, I think that's the mic drop moment here that we were looking for. Michael Bush, Richard Cox, you won't find 2 better leaders and experts on leadership than these 2 men. Give them a big hand.
This guy right here, too.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Michael, Richard, thank you very much. Ed, come over here for a second. Come here, Ed.
I'm bringing these guys with me. I'm bringing my friends.
We've made Ed an honorary black man a long time ago. Look, the first CEO ever to show up, the Fortune 500 CEO ever to show up at a Hope Global Forum and invited himself.
True story.
The first CEO every year, who says, what's the dates? I want to be there. No matter how busy I am, I have to show up. Now, you don't need to clap on this because this is too much, but just let me just sink this in. The number 1 airline in the world right now, one of the most profitable, the biggest market cap, the most respected, the first airline to reach 100 years. By the way, Ambassador Andrew Young, right here, give him some love. Carolyn Young, his brilliant wife. Behind every successful man is an exhausted woman. Yes. And he named a plane after Ambassador Andrew Young. He named his headquarters building after Ambassador Andrew Young. This man, Ed Bastian, did that. So we're not talking about some also-ran CEO. We're not talking about somebody who's got some soft, mealy-mouse brain and a second-rate leader. We're talking about one of the biggest CEOs in the world, the best airline in the world, the most well-performing economically in the world, who knows how to treat his people. I had a vision, I had an idea, I wanted to do financial coaching. He introduced me to people in his office who handled HR. They're like, I think we got that handled. I said, okay, can I put an office there as a test? They said, sure. Pandemic hits, the leaders call and say, we think we need financial coaching throughout the organization. I go and do that. Then because they found $1 billion had been pulled out of during COVID, of people who were quietly in crisis and needed that money. They responded to that, put coaches nationwide, Joanne. And after that, they said, we need to add the $1,000 emergency savings account because most folks don't have money. When I'm on an airline now on Delta, the flight attendants will come to me. I use that money to get a stove from my mother. I use that money so I could get married. I use that money because Johnny got sick and I couldn't pay rent. They're crying. This changed their life. They're not showing up to work, they're showing up to family. Yeah. This is a great leader. Give him some love, Ed Bastian.
You're the best.